Go. Let's talk about some commonly made mistakes when engaging customers, why they happen, and what you can do about them. I'll even share some memorable ones that I pulled, this time on Sales Talk with Joe. Whether you've been in sales for years, are just starting your sales career, or even just considering a career in sales, Sales Talk with Joe is designed to help you be more successful. Everyone in sales occasionally makes mistakes during the process of interacting with customers or prospects. I've certainly made my share. So what do you do when you make a mistake? Is it possible to recover? Henry Ford once said, "The only real mistake that we make is not learning from the mistakes that we make." Mistakes usually fall into the categories of doing something that upsets or irritates/angers a customer or prospect. Mistakes can also be something that disrupt the sales process and take the focus off of your value proposition. Let's look at both of those types of mistakes and what to do to recover if one happens. Irritating customers or prospects happens in many ways. One memorable blooper that I pulled was with a larger customer for my company. Now keep in mind that I was the national training manager at this point. I certainly should have known better than to do what I did. What happened was I discovered that when I first started working with this particular customer, that the product buyer that I was working with and I had not only similar personalities, but a similar sense of humor. I decided that when I had an appointment with him, I'd bring a new joke to tell him. Pretty soon he had a new one for me as well. One particular meeting, I entered the conference room and noticed another gentleman sitting next to the buyer. I was introduced to him and told that he was the buyer's boss. I assumed that he was the head of purchasing. Before we got into business, I told the buyer, "Hey, I have a new joke for you." He said, "Okay, I'd like to hear it," and I proceeded to tell it. Well, the punchline of this particular joke made fun of the position of vice presidents in companies. When I got to the punchline and delivered it, my buyer friend almost fell off his chair laughing, but his boss remained stone-faced. I'm sure you figured out by now his boss's title was Executive Vice President in charge of purchasing. Now I knew something was wrong right away, and I had a "boy, I wish those words had never come out of my mouth" moment. The VP said to me, "I don't believe I gave you a business card," and he handed me his card. I bet those two wished they had a camera at that moment to capture the look on my face when I read the card. I'm sure all the color ran out of my face. My mouth was totally dry and my mind was racing. What do I do? The only thing I could think of to do was own it. I looked at the VP and said, "Should I crawl out of here back to my car, or do you want to kick me all the way there?" Fortunately, he laughed and said it was okay, but he said, "You should know your audience before telling a joke like that." Well, that's something that I'd taught only dozens or more of times. Don't start talking until you know who they are and where they're at. I apologized profusely and he seemed to be okay. The meeting went well and we continued to grow with the customer. There was no harm done. But boy, what a disaster that could have been. That might have even cost me my job if that hadn't gone well. Sometimes a mistake that occurs in the sales process is where things seem to be going well, but suddenly the customer becomes hesitant or throws a condition into the process out of the blue. You might really start pitching your product at this point, or pushing for a close, or jump into full negotiation mode and try to get something you think your company can live with. I once had a customer whose motto was, "Every time I meet with a vendor, I will get a concession from them." To get an appointment with him, you had to submit the purpose of the meeting with the request. When he granted you a meeting and at the time you came to meet with him, he'd start the meeting by saying, "You want to accomplish such and such in this meeting. If I buy and do what you want, what are you going to do for me?" Once I tried answering, "Well, I'll continue to supply you with a great product at a competitive price." His reply was, "Great, your competitors tell me the same thing. What beyond that are you willing to do?" If you tried to go into the reasons he should consider the product, he'd interrupt you and say, "Won't even think about anything until I know what concession you're willing to give me above and beyond your normal pricing and programs." Often at this point, a meeting can break down into negotiations about price, payment terms, or perhaps free bonus product if certain amounts are purchased. This particular customer owned multiple retail stores, so the volume represented to him was significant. The easier route would have been just to concede something to him to make him feel like he got something. But that's you giving something without getting anything. That's not what we're in this profession to do. So what do you do in a situation like this? The first thing I do is remember some advice that was given to me years ago. When the rules become stacked against you, change the rules. In this particular case, what I did to change the rules was take away the customer's assumption that I would give him a discount just because he was waving a potential order under my nose. When he asked what I'm going to do for him, I said, "Well, that depends on what you're going to do for me." He said, "Well, I'm giving you an order. What do you expect me to do?" I then went into a discussion about adding new items into his store. When he said, "What do I get for doing that?" I laid a card on the table and revealed an incentive that I could offer on the condition that he added a certain percentage of the new items. He agreed to it, and after a little more back and forth, I got what I wanted, he got what he wanted. This happened because I reset the rules. An order wasn't enough incentive for me to give him something. One of the cardinal rules of negotiation is never give anything without getting something. In essence, I conditionalized his power to behavior that benefited both him and me. Everyone in sales makes mistakes. They can be discouraging and confidence shakers. What's important in the instances when you do make a mistake is to recognize the mistake, do what you can to correct it, and most importantly, learn from it to help you keep from repeating it. Don't let a mistake get you down. Double down on your efforts to learn from it and not repeat it. And also own it. Don't forget to own it and make things right. I'm Joe Ferguson. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to leave a comment about this video. If you liked what you saw, please hit the like button, share the video with someone who might benefit from it, and subscribe to this channel. If you have a product or service you think would be a good match for my viewers and are interested in sponsoring these videos, please email me. My email address is in the description. If you just want to talk about sales in your career, please feel free to email me. I'd be happy to chat with you. Make sure you watch for the next Sales Talk with Joe, uploaded every Thursday. Thanks, and see you again on the next Sales Talk with Joe video.